Hey guys, welcome back to Olivia's Blooms. Today I am going to be planting the cauliflower that I started in a video down in my basement in soil blocks. And you might recognize this bed. I actually tried in also another video direct seeding my cauliflower in my vegetable garden bed, and I got zero germination. But when I started it inside in soil blocks, 100% germination. I actually ended up with almost 2 in every block, and I plucked them out. So I have been hardening these off, which means I've been getting them used to the sun and the wind just for a few hours at a time, a little more each day. And these guys are ready to be planted in the bed. Here's a closer look at them. And they're a little bit wilty, but I'm not too worried about it. I think they just need some water. It was very dry today. And this is what I love about soil blocks. Planting these is going to take me minutes, if not seconds. Once they're a little bit bigger and their roots have moved through a soil block, they're pretty easy to handle. And let me see if you can see the roots on this one. And they just air prune themselves, which means when they hit the air, they stop growing instead of circling around. Here, maybe you can see them better there. And I'm just going to be taking these, and it's as simple as making a hole this deep, putting them in, and watering them in. Now, I'm going to be planting these about 12 to 18 inches apart because these plants are going to get big. So here's the spot I picked out for them. This is right now next to my cowpeas and my banana peppers. And they might be a little shaded, the cauliflower, until the peppers are done, but I don't think they'll mind that. They really prefer cool weather, and so a little respite from this August and September sun and heat, I think, will actually benefit them. So I am not going to amend the soil today, though, because in my previous video when I direct seeded cauliflower, or attempted to direct seed it, I amended the bed then. But if I hadn't already amended the bed, I would just throw in a little bit of biotone starter fertilizer and maybe a little compost. But today I don't even need to do that. So I'm going to pick a spot right next to an emitter on my drip line and literally just dig a little hole with my hands, stick these in the ground, and move on to the next. Okay, here's a closer look of them planted up. They don't look like much at first, kind of sad, but they will perk up in no time as long as the bugs stay away from them, and I will keep you guys updated on their progress. Now I've got some mustard greens that I also want to get planted, and a few extra cauliflower that I might find a place for. Alright, so this, if you watched my vegetable tour, you'll know this is where I had my gigantic squash plant. I just pulled it out. It is pretty much done. You can see it right there. It wasn't producing any more squash. This one, oh, there's one right there I need to harvest. It's still producing, so I left this one in, but this spot will be great for a couple more cauliflower. Now, I am going to amend this spot with some compost and some biotone starter fertilizer, just because the squash got pretty big and it probably took a lot of nutrients out of the soil. So just a little bit goes a long way. Now, I'm hoping to implement more regenerative practices in the future. And if you're wondering what regenerative practices are, it is trying to use the resources and build up the natural resources in the soil. I'm adding my biotone starter fertilizer so that you don't need to be bringing in a lot of outside nutrients. So I'm going to put in the cauliflower now, and again, just gonna find an emitter. You can see one right there, that hole. I'm gonna put the plant right next to it. Now, if you are interested in learning more about regenerative farming and practices, a really great resource that I learned a lot from is Blossom and Branch Farm, and I'll put a link to her channel below. But she has an awesome regenerative farm, and they use cover crops and compost teas, and they don't bring in a lot of other outside sources into their farming, and it's a much more sustainable practice, something that I aspire to do more of. So I'm hoping to do some cover cropping maybe next year, but for now I will be bringing in my own compost and fertilizer until I can figure out how to make my soil here nice and nutritious and build up the good microbes in my own garden. Okay, so a little hard to see, but I planted all of the cauliflower I had. So I planted them underneath my very tall sunflowers. Although these are branching sunflowers, I've already made lots of cuts off of them. I don't think they're gonna last much longer. So when they're done, I will just cut them at the base, and these cauliflower will have plenty of room to grow. And there's one back there, and again, not looking amazing, but I think they'll perk up. And if they don't, you know, I only planned on planting 5 cauliflower and I planted 10, so I won't be devastated to lose a few. Okay guys, quick update on my cauliflower. As you can see, it's looking pretty happy. We are just a few days later, and I feel like they've already grown. So again, one of the reasons I love the soil blocking method is the plants seem to love it and just thrive. Now I'm hoping to do more regenerative farming in the future. Not really farming. Okay. That's not what I wanted. Oh, I'm hoping to implement more regenerative, wow, one there. Oh, excuse me, get out of my garden. I don't know what I'm talking about.